Mr. Toastmaster, gentlemen, the traditional classroom as we know it is under threat. Or is it? A traditional classroom would resemble a setting like what we have here, where I would be in the form of a teacher, or if you will, Mr. Will Walker, and you would be students, and there would be reciprocation of ideas in an orderly manner, where you get to raise hands and there is communication. Now, with the technological revolution, there is what we call MOOCs, M-O-O-Cs, and those are massive open online courses. The beauty of massive online open courses is that you can take them anywhere where you are, on your cell phone, at home, in the comfort of your bed or on the couch. These are platforms that offer any courses of your choice that are facilitated by universities, top-tier universities all over the world through collaborations. You could learn anything you want. You could learn how to treat water, you could learn how to cook, you could learn, you could take classes on philosophy, you could be introduced to just basic or rudimentary engineering. The beauty of that is that you do not need to attend any class. They are free, completely free. Or are they?
No, unfortunately not.
The idea behind MOOCs is that you avail education to the general public. You include everyone. Right? But they are not certified like you would from an ordinary classroom or from an ordinary course that you take at a university. Every discussion that takes place on a MOOC platform is through typing, communication, or what they call keyboard fillers. No need to raise hands, just type, you get feedback. You communicate with your facilitator, you communicate with your fellow students. But would this really threaten the traditional classroom like we know it? Now let's look at the advantages. We said that MOOCs are free. But how free are they? The cost of connecting internet at home is still very relatively expensive in South Africa. And I would use the term relatively. How many of us have internet access? Now that becomes a selection process of who can take a MOOC class and who cannot. The other thing is that MOOCs are still at the developmental stage. And anything that is promising doesn't really end up as what it is intended to be. We have investors who are willing to make that platform more enriching to themselves. So what happens is you have platforms that are set to be paid platforms where you have to pay a fee. Now, does that change the dynamic? Does that threaten the traditional classroom as we know it? That is the question that I want to leave you with. When we say that we want to take education away from the classroom and offer it to everybody, are we including all of these aspects? We recently had fees must fall in South Africa. And all of a sudden, after we had fees must fall, we had, what's the other one? Internet must fall. I forgot the name of that particular. Data must fall, yes. So, how do we join the two? Are those really mutually inclusive? Do they offer us the best terms? Can we really say that MOOCs will be applicable in our context here? There's a yes and a no. And I do not want to pick a side. Now, let's look at the traditional classroom for a second. We pay exorbitant fees in the hundreds of thousands to get a qualification. And you have to send a student away from home where they have to have lodging facilities or rental fees. And some may need transport, some may not. So how do you cut the cost of traditional education when there is an effective way of offering education? Which is the lesser evil between the two? Or which one is would be more suited for our context here? The third one is, are we really in a place locally to offer MOOCs? These are offered by higher, like I've said, tier top-end universities. Of course, you have your UCTs, which is recently joined. It has a that it is offering through MOOC platforms. But then we are talking about one university out of how many universities? Around 24 universities, including universities of technology. Is that a platform that is suited for everyone, that is accessible? So with all of these facts that I've brought to you, the question remains, are traditional classrooms, or the brick classrooms as I've put them, really under threat? On the other hand, of course, MOOCs offer you a cheaper alternative to learning, but it's still under development. And then you have the tried and tested method of deliberation, of imparting knowledge, which are the brick classrooms. So, which is which? And once again, are we heading for an extinction level event where education is taken away from what we traditionally know to the platforms that are untried and untested? Are the brick classrooms under threat? Or are they facing collapse? That is for you to decide and look at which is better. Mr. Toastmaster.